Welcome to the English Story Podcast. In today's episode, we'll explore the fascinating world of vocabulary learning. Whether you're a beginner or an intermediate learner, this guide will provide you with effective techniques to master new words and remember them effortlessly. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the wonderful journey of expanding your vocabulary. The science of memory and vocabulary learning. Let's start with some basics. Understanding how our memory works is crucial to mastering new words. Research shows that our brains are wired to forget information quickly if we don't actively try to retain it. This concept is beautifully illustrated by the forgetting curve proposed by Hermann Ebbinghaus. His experiments revealed that without reinforcement, we forget about 56% of new information within an hour, 66% after a day, and 75% after 6 days. But don't worry, there are ways to beat this curve. The key to remembering new words is to move them from our short-term memory to our long-term memory. This process involves repeated exposure, meaningful usage, and active recall. In simpler terms, the more you see, use, and recall a word, the better you'll remember it. So, how can we make this process effective and even enjoyable? Let's explore some proven techniques. Spaced repetition. One of the most powerful tools for vocabulary retention is spaced repetition. This technique involves reviewing new words at increasing intervals. Studies have shown that spaced repetition can significantly improve memory retention. For instance, a study published in Applied Cognitive Psychology found that spaced repetition improved the retention of foreign language vocabulary by 50% compared to cramming. So, how does spaced repetition work? Imagine you learn a new word today. Instead of reviewing it several times today and forgetting it tomorrow, you review it today, then again tomorrow, a few days later, and so on. Each review session happens at increasing intervals. This method leverages the psychological spacing effect, which helps transfer information from short-term to long-term memory. There are many apps available that utilize this technique, such as Anki and Memrise. With Anki, for example, you create digital flashcards. Each card shows a word on one side and its meaning on the other. The app schedules reviews based on how well you know each word. If you remember a word easily, you'll see it less frequently. If you struggle, the app will show it more often. Let's take an example. Suppose you are learning the word elucidate, which means to make something clear or explain. You create a flashcard with elucidate on one side and its definition on the other. The first day, you review it. The next day, you see it again. After a few days, it pops up once more. Over time, as you get better at recalling the word, the intervals between reviews increase. This method ensures that elucidate becomes a part of your long-term memory. Mnemonic devices. Another fun and effective method is using mnemonic devices. Mnemonics are memory aids that help you remember information through associations. They can be visual, auditory, or even kinesthetic. For instance, to remember the word garrulous, which means excessively talkative, you might imagine a parrot named Gary, who never stops talking. Every time you think of garrulous, picture Gary the parrot chattering away. This visual association makes the word easier to remember. Research published in the Journal of Educational Psychology found that students who used mnemonic devices improved their vocabulary retention by up to 77%. Besides visual mnemonics, you can use acronyms, rhymes, and even songs. For example, to remember the word abate, which means to reduce, you might think of the phrase abate, reducing the number of fish in the sea. Here's another example. Let's say you're learning the word loquacious, which means very talkative. You could create a rhyme. Loquacious is the one who speaks tenacious. The rhyme and rhythm help cement the word in your memory. Contextual learning. Learning words in context is crucial. When you encounter a new word, seeing it used in a sentence helps you understand its meaning and usage. This is why reading extensively is so beneficial. According to a study by Nagy, Herman, and Anderson, learning new words in context is more effective than memorizing definitions alone. They found that students who learned words through extensive reading had better long-term retention. For example, let's take the word serendipity. It means finding something good without looking for it. Instead of just memorizing the definition, see how it's used in a sentence. It was pure serendipity that I found the perfect dress on sale. This contextual usage helps you grasp not just the meaning, but also the application of the word. To reinforce this, try to use new words in your own sentences. The more you use them, the better you'll remember them. Another effective method is storytelling. Create stories using new words to embed them in your memory. This not only helps you remember the words, but also makes learning more enjoyable. Let's illustrate with an example. Suppose you're learning the word ephemeral, which means lasting for a very short time. You might write a short story. The beauty of the sunrise was ephemeral, disappearing within minutes as the day began. By weaving the word into a narrative, you make it more memorable. Reading books, watching movies, and listening to podcasts in your target language are excellent ways to see words in context. The more exposure you get, the more familiar the words will become. For instance, if you enjoy cooking, read recipes and watch cooking shows in the language you're learning. If you love sports, follow sports news and commentary. Tailoring your learning to your interests makes it more engaging and effective. Active usage and practice. To truly master new vocabulary, you need to use it actively. This means speaking, writing, and engaging in conversations using your new words. Research from the Modern Language Journal indicates that students who actively use new vocabulary in conversations retain words better than those who only study them passively. Start small. Practice with a language partner or join language exchange groups. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Writing daily journal entries using your new words is another great practice. Participate in online forums or chat with native speakers through language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk. For example, if you've just learned the word ameliorate, which means to make something better, try using it in a sentence. I plan to ameliorate my study habits by setting a regular schedule. The key is to integrate new words into your daily life. Use them in different contexts to deepen your understanding and retention. Let's take another example. Suppose you've learned the word exuberant, which means full of energy and enthusiasm. You might describe your weekend. I had an exuberant time at the festival, dancing and singing with friends. By incorporating new words into your speech and writing, you reinforce their meanings and make them a natural part of your vocabulary. The importance of review and consistency. Consistency is crucial when it comes to vocabulary learning. Set aside dedicated time each day for review and practice. According to a study by Barak, and Barak, consistent distributed practice over time leads to better retention than cramming all at once. They found that students who practiced regularly retained information better over the long term. Make reviewing a part of your daily routine. Whether it's using flashcards, revisiting old notes, or having a quick conversation with a language partner, consistency will pay off. Set a reminder on your phone to review your vocabulary every day. Remember, learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Patience and persistence are key. For instance, dedicate 10 minutes every morning to review your flashcards. In the evening, spend another 10 minutes reading a short article or a few pages of a book in your target language. By spreading out your study sessions, you reinforce your memory and make learning more manageable. Leveraging technology. In this digital age, we have access to numerous tools and resources to aid in vocabulary learning. Language learning apps, online dictionaries, and interactive games can make learning fun and efficient. Studies have shown that gamified learning apps, such as Duolingo and Babbel, can significantly enhance vocabulary acquisition by making the process engaging and interactive. For example, Duolingo offers bite-sized lessons and interactive exercises. It keeps you motivated with its reward system and daily streaks. Other great resources include Quizlet for flashcards, FluentU for learning through real-world videos, and Linguist for personalized vocabulary learning. Online dictionaries like Merriam-Webster and Cambridge not only provide definitions, but also offer pronunciation guides, example sentences, and thesaurus entries. They're invaluable tools for language learners. For instance, when you look up a word like benevolent, these dictionaries will give you its meaning, pronunciation, and examples of how it's used in sentences. The role of motivation and goals. Finally, let's talk about the importance of motivation and setting goals. Having a clear reason for learning new words can keep you focused and driven. Research published in Language Learning indicates that students with intrinsic motivation, driven by personal interest and enjoyment, tend to achieve higher proficiency levels than those motivated by external rewards alone. Set specific, achievable goals for your vocabulary learning. For example, aim to learn 5 new words a day or 30 words a week. Track your progress and celebrate your achievements. Seeing your progress can be a great motivator. Let's take an example. Suppose your goal is to learn business English. You might set a target to learn 20 new business-related words each week. Track your progress in a journal or an app. Celebrate your achievements by rewarding yourself with something you enjoy, like a favorite treat or a relaxing activity. Remember, language learning should be enjoyable. Find ways to make it fun and rewarding. Whether it's through music, movies, or connecting with friends, keep your motivation high. For instance, if you love music, learn the lyrics of your favorite songs in the language you're studying. Sing along and try to understand the meaning of the words. To recap, learning new words involves understanding the science of memory, using spaced repetition, mnemonic devices, contextual learning, active practice, and leveraging technology. Stay consistent, set goals, and keep your motivation high. Language learning is a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to fluency. Be patient, persistent, and enjoy the process. Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember, every word you learn is a step towards mastering the language. Thank you for listening to the English Story Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share your language learning tips with us. Happy learning!